Hello, everyone. This is Julie Lane from Redeeming Hope. I'm a survivor, a musician, and an educator on a journey of restoration after a lifetime of trauma and abuse. I've had many people ask me important questions about my journey. Why did I start telling my story? Where do I find my strength? What pushes me into healing? What helps me on those really hard days? And why sharing might matter for you. So today I want to share those answers with you because your story matters to me. So what did motivate me to start telling my story? I knew that I had been living with a hidden life for many decades, and I was exhausted from holding it all in. I knew I was resilient in public life, earning 4 college degrees, building 2 careers, one in music, one in special education, and then moving on into higher ed. But privately, I carried this wound from childhood: abuse, verbal abuse, neglect, sexual abuse, and even relational abuse. I reached a point where I could no longer be okay with silence. It was simply exhausting, and I wanted a fuller life. I wanted to laugh, to cry, to find peace. And telling my story became an act of liberation for me, but also for women who feel voiceless, unseen, or trapped. I wanted others to know if I could move from shame to speaking, from hiding to healing, maybe they could too. So I built Redeem Thyself in hopes of creating a safe space for others to know that they're not alone and to share their stories. People ask me too, where do you find your strength? My strength comes from many places. First, my faith. My Christian faith is the foundation of all I do. It's what reminded me I am worthy, I'm valued, I'm resilient. And I also find strength in writing, journaling, and in my music. Playing harp has always been a place where I lose myself and connect with beauty. And then there's also my family, my daughters, their husbands, my grandchildren, and 2 very, very dear friends, all who inspire me to keep going. And I think, lastly, community. The women in Redeem Myself on social media remind me that we can heal together. I do not believe that those on Redeem Thyself community know how much they have done for me. And simply being there, commenting on my posts, sharing their kindness has all been incredibly helpful. So what made me decide it was time to start sharing, start healing? I've worked with therapists since, the early 2000s. But those journeys were about saving a marriage, about how to raise my 2 daughters alone. They were about how to survive from day to day. It was my last husband who told me one day that he was fed up with me not having a voice. So he decided I needed a new therapist. So I went out and I found one. And lo and behold, I began to look inward. I looked around my life and I realized I wasn't living anymore. I was living out of fear, out of shame, and not from joy. I saw how abuse had shaped my actions, my relationships, even how I defined success, and it was exhausting. So I got my voice. I stood up for myself. I came to realize that having a voice was fine as long as my voice mirrored that of my ex-husband. The blaming, the shaming, the gaslighting, the rages were not going to be tolerated anymore. And I spoke out. I said, stop. I said, enough is enough. And then I reached a turning point when I understood that being resilient wasn't enough. Resilience kept me alive, but healing could set me free. So I made a commitment to leave my abusive husband, to stop hiding, to dig deep in therapy, to let myself feel, and to let God in again. People also ask me, what do you do on your hard days? And on my hard days, I'm still working really hard on that one. I'm working on self-kindness. I struggle with mental thoughts that want to put me down for not being productive. I take gentle steps, prayer, scripture, journaling, and sometimes just sitting in silence. Music always helps me. Even a few notes on my harp can calm me. And words when words can't. And I try to learn from gratitude and grounding. Sometimes it's as simple as breathing deeply, taking a walk, reaching out to a trusted friend. Healing isn't linear. Hard days don't mean I'm failing. They just mean I'm human, and that this is going to take time. Patience is the key. And people ask me, why should they read my story? I thought I was the only one who had experienced what I've experienced in my life. Living in secrecy, not having a voice, creates isolation. And I've learned, though, that I'm not alone. Yet few do tell their stories. So I'm telling my story so that others know they're not alone. To show that it's possible to build a life of dignity, meaning, and purpose, even after trauma. I guess I also want others to know that healing's possible, that silence isn't the end of your story. If even one person says, Julie's story helped me see that I matter, then my writing has done its job. Sharing stories creates connection, and connection is where healing happens. Thank you for asking these questions. It's an honor to share pieces of my journey with you. If my story has resonated with you, I invite you to connect with me at juliemlane.com, at Redeem Thyself on Instagram or Facebook, or one of my other platforms via the links below. And maybe, just maybe, start telling your story. I'd love for you to subscribe and share it with someone who may need a little hope today. Until next time, remember, you matter, your story matters, and healing is possible. Thanks for listening.